We work pretty lockstep with Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources on wetlands restoration, enhancement work, and land protection. And we're always trying to find opportunities to protect land from development. And so when they came to us and said, hey, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to protect over 8,000 acres, we said, hey, how can we help? So this is a really cool once-in-a-career opportunity to work on a project like this.
Back in 1999, Chesapeake Forest Products announced that they were going to sell 300,000 acres of their property. A lot of that was here on the Eastern Shore in Virginia, but also a lot in Maryland and Delaware. And the Conservation Fund stepped in to purchase that land to keep it from being divided up into too many separate ownerships. One of the unique things about this property and this project in particular is that although it is in a bunch of different chunks around the Eastern Shore, it's been continuously managed with kind of a cohesive view towards wildlife and water quality. And so that made doing this project particularly important to make sure that that continuity of management on a large scale could continue.
This particular acquisition, I think in my over 35 years at the Department of Wildlife Resources, is one of the most important that I've ever been involved in. We're conserving almost 8,600 acres of habitat here on Virginia's Eastern Shore. This is a hemispherically important place for wildlife. This is a place in Virginia where we're losing wetlands at a tremendously fast rate due to land subsidence and sea level rise. This is also a place where there is not very much opportunity for public access to wildlands for wildlife-related recreation like hunting, fishing, wildlife viewing, and those types of activities.
The Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources has been a long-standing partner with Ducks Unlimited, and we were honored to be able to work with them on this 8,000 plus acre land acquisition here on the Eastern Shore. As you've driven around here, you've seen there's a rural nature to the Eastern Shore, but there are also developing areas, and so this was an important opportunity to protect a substantial amount of land in one transaction. And so we were able to work with the state on this roughly $10 million deal to raise through federal North American Wetland Conservation Act grant, as well as private dollars, about $2.5 million towards this acquisition. And so by protecting this land, it helps protect the way of life here in the Chesapeake Bay.
This property that the fund transferred to the state is important upland wildlife habitat. I think there's been a lot of focus over the past several years, past decades, on protecting the shoreline, protecting marsh habitat, which is obviously important. But as sea level rises and as land is fragmented and is privatized, we've lost the ability to manage that upland forest in kind of larger contiguous blocks. And so what this property does is it enables the state to manage both for game species, white-tailed deer, turkey, but it also allows them to manage a significant amount of land for migratory bird habitat, which has been a really underrepresented management on the Eastern Shore, especially the southern tip for the migratory birds that come across the Chesapeake Bay and need to refuel as they go further up the coast on their migration.
On the Eastern Shore, we're really concerned about the loss of our important salt marsh habitats. And so these acquisitions like this one really give us an opportunity to ensure that we have the places where marshes can naturally migrate. And this really represents a tremendous opportunity for us to significantly advance the goals that have been set up for Virginia.
When you look at the Chesapeake Bay, I saw recently that every day about 100 acres are lost to development in the whole Chesapeake Bay. And so when you think about how quickly that starts to compound and add up, it impacts people whether they care about wildlife or not. It impacts drinking water and shellfish and their local economies. A lot of the communities here on the Eastern Shore are agricultural and more rural economies. And so by protecting this land, it helps protect the way of life here in the Chesapeake Bay.
This particular project is one of the most rewarding that we have ever been involved in at the Department of Wildlife Resources. Ducks Unlimited played a pivotal role in helping us secure funding for this project, both through federal grants and private donations. We brought over 12 sources of funds, nearly as many partners to this project, and without the partners and all of the different funds that they could bring to this project, we would never have been able to accomplish an acquisition of this complexity and this magnitude. These properties will really give us a footprint to allow our important waterfowl marshes to migrate as the seas around them continue to rise.
All you have to do is ride along 13 and you see different developments. People are coming to the Eastern Shore, but it's done in controlled growth. You have to have areas left, open space. People like coming to the Eastern Shore because of the open space. What the Nature Conservancy has done with protecting the barrier islands. What we have here, these necks are very pretty and open. You have the nice way of life it used to be, and to keep it that way.
I think the plans for the future for this property are to manage it to increase the ability of the property to support migratory birds and to increase public access. Both of those things will improve water quality, and obviously water quality in the Chesapeake Bay is critically important for any number of reasons, both commercial reasons for the fisheries, but also for recreation. Because this habitat is upland habitat, it allows for marsh migration and allows for those more coastal habitats to migrate inwards onto the shore as we adapt to climate change.
As humans, we do a lot to impact land and impact the environment, and this is our opportunity to tackle an issue collectively. Water quality in the Chesapeake Bay has declined, and there are goals and efforts and plans, but for me personally, working with Ducks Unlimited and being able to be a part of this project with all of these partners has been impactful, and it gives us a way to really feel like we're making a difference.
Just the enjoyment of the Chesapeake Bay, because we're all on weekends, everyone's out fishing and crabbing in the bay. It's part of our life here. It's just our lifestyle to keep our bay healthy, what we can do to save it out there.
We want to make sure that wildlife has a place to live on the Eastern Shore, that wildlife and natural habitats are important parts of the communities that are found here throughout the Eastern Shore. Outdoor experiences, natural environments are an important part of the way of life here on the Eastern Shore. So we'll continue to work with our conservation partners like Ducks Unlimited and with the local communities and the counties to ensure that what we're trying to do and what they want to accomplish go hand in hand, and that we are all advancing our shared goals.
The Eastern Shore has a long heritage of waterfowlers and conservationists, and I want DU to be seen as a champion in this landscape and an organization that pulled together resources, worked with everyone from local farmers to private landowners to state agencies and federal agencies and nonprofits to leave this place as good as we found it, if not better.